Hey everybody, Uncle Rich here for Who's Telling the Truth. What's today's date? I don't know, I got all this technical stuff, I can't find out what date it is. Anybody? Hello? Anyway, what is it? Today is July 25th. Boy, it took a long time, huh guys? And this is show number 143. And the name of the show is Sociopath. Now guys, on this show, not only did we try to teach you the truth, but now we're starting to learn some words that really aren't used in normal conversations. When was the last time you really was talking to somebody and you mentioned the word sociopath? Am I right or am I wrong? But guys, on Wednesday night, on a rare occasion, Bill Maher did a special after the Republican convention. And of course, I wanted to sit there and watch it because I love Bill Maher. So here I am, I'm sitting home, minding my own business, and I'm watching Bill Maher, and this guy named Tony Schwartz comes on. I never even heard of this guy. And Bill Maher introduced Tony Schwartz as the ghostwriter for Donald Trump's book, The Art of the Deal. Well, guys, I thought Trump wrote the book. I didn't know. So, Judy, can we play clip number 1 so everyone can get a taste of what I'm talking about?
The big lie of this campaign is that Trump cares about the people who are going to vote for him. He doesn't care about those people. He doesn't care about anyone.
You know him personally. You spent a lot of time.
I spent 18 months following this man around when I was a young man.
People say there's a different Trump. It seems to me like he's the same useless jackass off camera. But is there this other Trump?
There is no other Trump. There is no other Trump. There is no.
We have a witness who is.
So there is no heart. There is no soul. If you Google the word sociopath, you'll get the first list will be the 10 key qualities of a sociopath. That is a perfect description of Donald Trump. So
guys, you heard Tony Schwartz say it. So Google sociopath. So on this show, what's the one thing that we love to do? We love to prove our point. So Judy, Google sociopath and let's see what we get. Judy, hold on. Judy, can you, maybe you got one of the clips mixed up. Can you Google sociopath for us again, Judy? What is the web overwhelmed? I mean, what could be going on? This can't, Judy, for the last time, one more time. Please Google sociopath for us. Judy, come back to me. Guys, I know what the problem is. I'm asking her to Google it. I should ask her for the definition. So Judy, let's have the next. Let's see what the definition of sociopath. Isn't this sweet, guys? And this is from Merriam-Webster's dictionary. Someone who behaves in a dangerous or violent way towards other people and does not feel guilty about such behavior. Jody, can you come back to me? Guys, who does that remind you of? Who do you think of when you hear about the Mexicans and the rapists and the Muslims and the radical Islam terrorists and the fear and the hate? And this is what the Trump campaign is about. Hate and fear. Well, now the Democratic convention is going to start. But guys, what I thought, and I've been following the election closely, and I'm sure most people have. I thought that by now somebody would have picked up on this, that Trump had a co-writer, a ghostwriter. somebody would have exposed him. But you're going to say, wait a minute, Rich, something sounds fishy here. And guys, I hear you. Something does sound fishy. But when you hear this guy, Tony Schwartz, explain why he's doing what he's doing, you know, you're going to thank him. Because I tell you, Trump's an evil individual. He's a sick man. He really is. I mean, it's gotten past the point of being sick. And I mean, you know, sometimes when I watch him, it's like I'm watching a Scientologist. Remember we did the couple of shows on Scientology? I mean, these people, but the one thing about Trump supporters, they're allowed to use the internet. Of course, they can only go to conservative websites and conservative things like that. But you know, the Scientologists, they're not even allowed to go on the internet. Why? Because they'll find out it's all a fraud. And that's what we want to do tonight. We want to show you what a fraud Donald Trump is. And guys, I tell you, when you see it, and I don't care, you know, how much of a Republican you are, it's got to get to the point where the critical mass gets to the point where you say, I can't take it anymore. I can't support this guy. I don't care. I mean, with all his bankruptcies and all the other shenanigans he's done. So anyway, enough of me talking. Let's hear it from the horse's mouth. So guys, this is an 8-minute clip. So smoke if you got 'em, but let's have some fun. Judy, can we have clip number 5? Is it number 6? Guys, I tell you, when it comes to the debates, Hillary is going to eat him up because he doesn't know anything. And he's going to look stupid, but he's going to look stupid and prove it at the same time. And guys, I tell you, I couldn't enjoy it anymore. You know, Roger Ailes is no longer with Fox News. And, you know, we did the show on 7/11. We did show number 141 called Wttt. And, you know, and I tell you, it all came true. And why? Because they probably heard it down at Fox. They probably said, oh man, Uncle Rich up in Danbury, he's on to us. We better get rid of Roger before he comes after the rest of us. Uncle Joey. Oh, guys, I could say it. You know, even if I had, you know, only 50 hits on YouTube, I can get, because who could prove that I didn't make it happen? And that's what makes this show so much fun. And guys, the next clip we're going to do is from George Stephanopoulos from ABC. And I tell you, they did a beautiful investigative job. They asked the right questions. And I think after you watch this clip, you are going to be thoroughly convinced that Tony Schwartz, everything he says is true. And you know, and Trump is a fraud. He's a huckster. He's a charlatan. I tell you, it's unbelievable. This guy is unbelievable. But you know what? The clip will explain it all. So Judy, number 7, please.
And we are back now with that bombshell interview in the New Yorker magazine. Donald Trump's ghostwriter for The Art of the Deal, Tony Schwartz, tells Jane Mayer that he's, quote, terrified of a Trump presidency, fears for the world if Trump has the nuclear codes. He's going to join us live after this report from ABC's Lindsay Davis. Good morning, Lindsay.
Good morning, George. It may just be one of the most scathing reports yet about Donald Trump from a man who knows him well. Schwartz paints Trump as a, quote, liar without a conscience who stands for many things he hates.
In the late 1980s, Donald Trump was the king of New York real estate.
I've done well in the system.
And in 1987, he topped the New York Times bestsellers list with his book, The Art of the Deal. The critically acclaimed memoir/business advice book held the #1 spot for 51 weeks. Its 367 pages gave an inside look into his success and portrayed him as the ultimate dealmaker. And while many gave the book rave reviews, one person even dubbing it the most streetwise business book there is, some did point out it lacked a certain intimacy, a point mentioned in a 1987 interview with Bill Donahue.
I must say there is some personal information in here. Not a lot, but it's an interesting look.
I like to, leave it out as much as possible.
Well,
This morning, the book's co-author, Tony Schwartz, says there's a reason for that, tweeting, "I wrote The Art of the Deal. Donald Trump read it." In an article published today by The New Yorker, Schwartz says in 1985 he spent 18 months getting to know him better than almost anyone outside of the Trump family, shadowing him every day, learning his voice so he could write Trump's bestseller, calling the process draining and deadening, adding, "I put lipstick on a pig. I feel a deep sense of remorse that I contributed to presenting Trump in a way that brought him wider attention and made him more appealing than he is." Trump denies these claims, telling The New Yorker he didn't write the book. "I wrote the book. It was my book."
Schwartz says it appears that over time, Trump has convinced himself that he was the one who wrote the book. And he says if he could lie about that, he could lie about anything. We did reach out to Donald Trump for comment, but did not hear back. George.
Okay, Lindsay, thanks very much. And Tony Schwartz joins us now from New York. Mr. Schwartz, thank you for joining us this morning. Let's just get it on the record. You wrote The Art of the Deal. Donald Trump didn't?
I wrote every word of it. Donald Trump made a few red marks when I handed him the manuscript, but that was it.
I got to ask you about this sentence you said. "I genuinely believe that if Trump wins and gets the nuclear codes, there's an excellent possibility it will lead to the end of civilization." That is an extreme statement.
It's a terrifying thing. I haven't slept a night through since Donald Trump announced for president because I believe he is so insecure, so easily provoked, and not particularly nearly as smart as people might imagine he is. And in the face of somebody like Putin, provoking him cleverly, because Putin's a heck of a lot smarter than Donald Trump, I do worry that with the nuclear codes, he would end civilization as we know it.
Give us one concrete example of why it would lead you to that kind of anxiety from your 18 months with him.
Well, he has an incredibly short attention span. He was unable to do interviews with me past 10 or 15 minutes, so that finally I had to sit in his office and pick up a phone by the 8 feet away from his desk to listen in on his calls so I could turn this into a book. The idea that we'd have somebody with a tiny attention span, my 2-year-old grandson has a longer attention span than Donald Trump, is itself terrifying. This is a complex and difficult world, as we know just from the events of the last week, George.
I know that Donald Trump called you after he read this article, said you were disloyal, hung up and said, "Have a nice life." But let's talk about some of the points that he and his supporters will make. Number one, you kept your silence for an awful long time, for years. For more than a decade, you collected millions of dollars on this book. You're a lifelong liberal, as you say. You've given money to Democrats year after year after year. You have an agenda.
I do have an agenda, and the agenda is about Donald Trump's character. It has nothing to do with his ideology. He has no ideology. He's not a person who has beliefs except the belief that he himself should prevail in the end. So really what I'm talking about is character, and every American ought to be concerned about his character. If
that's the case, why keep your silence for so long?
Because we had a successful experience together. I never in a million years thought he would run for president. Had I thought that 30 years ago, I wouldn't have written the book. But for 29 years, I didn't think he would, and it didn't seem like it was important to speak out. I now feel it's my civic duty. I have nothing to gain from this. I've made a decision and already have given every dollar of my royalties I've earned over the last year since he announced for president to a series of nonprofit causes aimed at the people whose rights Donald Trump wants to abridge, immigration groups and the like.
You said in the past that nothing you wrote in The Art of the Deal was on its face false. Do you stand by that?
No, I suspect there are quite a number of things that were false. I mean, right in the middle of while I was writing this book, he was telling me about these great stories about his 3 casinos and how successful they were, while at the very same time, all 3 of them were going bankrupt. So no, it's full of falsehoods.
You regret writing the book?
I do regret writing the book. Had he not run for president, I wouldn't regret writing the book. But if in any way this contributes to his being elected president, I think this is a man who has more sociopathic tendencies than any candidate in my adult life that I've observed. And so, yeah, I do regret writing the book.
Tony Schwartz, thanks for joining us this morning.
Thank you.
What do you guys think? I mean, he sounded awful sincere to me. I mean, I don't think he's hiding anything. Trump's a dangerous man, and that's the reason why he's here. And a lot of people don't understand this. And in one of the clips they were talking, and they said, a lot of people that are voting for Trump really don't know why. I mean, really. But guys, the Republican Party had their convention, and on their first night, they bring out Melania Trump. So, Judy, can we have still number 8, please? And Melania comes, look at that, she's all dolled up, everything fit to a T, And the irony of America in 2016, a Slovenian immigrant with a thick accent plagiarizes the speech of a black woman and is ravenously cheered by a stadium full of white people who think black people and immigrants are destroying the nation. Judy, come back to me. Well, guys, I watched Melania's speech, and I thought it was terrific. I thought she did a beautiful job. She was fluent, and I don't know, I'm sitting there watching. I didn't think nothing of it. About an hour after the speech was given, stuff started to happen. And I said, wait a minute, is this possible? So I think the first inkling I got was from CNN. So guys, just, put the ears on, pay attention. And Judy, let's have the early breaking news from CNN, clip number 9, please.
She spoke before the speech. She spoke tonight about her speech. Let's listen, and then you and I will discuss this.
Has she gone over the speech with you? Did you practice it on the plane?
I read once over it, and that's all, because I wrote it and with a little help as possible. So.
Okay, so
a lot of work goes into these speeches.
Let's do a couple things. Let's go back 1 hour. 1 hour ago, we all walked out of that convention center and said they had a good convention night.
Right.
By and large, there might have been some errors they could have gone over. She gave a good speech, a low bar because people didn't think she was going to do well. She did fantastic. Okay. Here we are now, an hour later. There appears to be plagiarism, and this is something that's going to overshadow all day tomorrow what was a fairly successful night for the Trumps. I know you don't agree with me, Kaylee, but that's the fact of the matter.
I don't. That's a rather cryptic vision of what happened, because what happened is we had 12 hours rather of a really good day. And nothing can take away from this woman who stood there and was strong and was confident and did something none of us could do in front of 20,000 people. Nothing can take away from that. There was a mistake with the speechwriter.
There's not a mistake.
Yes.
She plagiarized.
No.
Let me tell you the fact.
How do you know that she did that? That she personally plagiarized?
Because you're responsible for the word. But even more importantly, this is the most important part of this. The number one character witness tonight, or this whole convention, for Donald Trump is his wife, Melania. And I could have come in here with very sharp criticism about the fact that she had no personal anecdotes about when they first met, or how they did, by the way. I did. I had them prepared. But even more importantly, if that is your wife, if that is your number one character witness, why can't she say good things about you without actually repeating words that Michelle Obama said directly about her husband?
What I love so much is that Rudy Giuliani predicted what we just heard from you. Rudy Giuliani said, in the media, there are people who are out to assassinate Donald Trump's character. And we just heard you presume. We just heard you presume that she herself wrote those words.
We are both lawyers.
Kaylee.
Guys, did you see the girl in the red dress? Her name was Kaylee. You notice that she had a cross? She had a cross on her, you know, she was wearing a cross. And I think most people that wear a cross are Christians, right? I mean, isn't that an indicator that you're a Christian? You wear a cross, right? This way people can identify and they know who you are. Okay, especially if you're another Christian, that's terrific. Well, aren't Christians supposed to tell the truth? I mean, isn't this the basis of the religion? But yet she's trying to fabricate stuff to defend Trump. Hey, if Melania got caught with her hand in the cookie jar, you know what? Smack her hand. You don't try to defend her. And you say no more. That's it. But, you know, a lot of people say, oh, it wasn't Melania's fault. You know, it was the speechwriter. Who even knows if she had a speechwriter? And the guys, the next clip, we're going to take it one step further, because the first clip, they were thinking about plagiarism. This next clip proves it, because they had to fess up. They had to come clean. They had to admit it. And you know what? That's all we got to keep doing. Just keep making them look stupid. Why? They deserve it. So, Judy, let's prove what I'm saying. Let's have, let's see, I think clip number 10.
Hey guys, what's going on? For Complex News, I'm Tamara Dia. The internet had a field day Monday night after Melania Trump's speech at the Republican National Convention proved to bear striking similarities to First Lady Michelle Obama's 2008 speech. For those of you that need a quick refresher,
And Barack and I were raised with so many of the same values.
You work hard for what you want in life.
You work hard for what you want in life.
That your word is your bond.
That your word is your bond. That you do what you say you're going to do. That you treat people
with respect.
With dignity and respect.
after the inevitable backlash of Melania using words verbatim from Michelle's speech, many people were waiting on an apology from Trump's team or even just acknowledgement of their blunder. But what we got instead was this remark from Trump spokesperson Katrina Pearson, who blindly defended the similarities. These are values, Republican values, by the way. This concept that Michelle Obama invented the English language is absurd. Okay, if we're using that logic, then why, out of all the words in the English language, did she have to use the same ones Michelle used? Prior to delivering the speech, Melania even took full credit for writing it.
Has she gone over the speech with you? Did you practice it on the plane?
I read once over it, and that's all, because I wrote it and with a little help as possible.
Seeing as how that argument didn't work, Trump's team is now trying another route: admission of guilt by way of proxy. According to the New York Times, Meredith McIver, an in-house staff writer for the Trump Organization, is stepping up and accepting the blame. And what the New York Times is calling, quote, unusual, McIver posted an open letter on the Trump campaign's website explaining, in working with Melania on her recent First Lady speech, we discussed many people who inspired her and messages she wanted to share with the American people. A person she has always liked is Michelle Obama. McIver further explained that during a phone call, Melania read her some passages from Michelle's 2008 speech as an example. I wrote them down and later included some of the phrasing in the draft that ultimately became the final speech. I did not check Mrs. Obama's speeches. This was my mistake, and I feel terrible for the chaos I have caused Melania and the Trumps, as well as to Mrs. Obama. McIver also said that she offered her resignation as a result, but Trump, being the understanding gentleman that he is, rejected it. Mr. Trump told me that people make innocent mistakes, and we learn and grow from these experiences. Trump himself has yet to respond, but honestly, this is the smartest move they could have made. Have someone else take the fall and then make yourself look like a saint in the process? Seems like the perfect political move, even if it is blatantly orchestrated. Although now there is speculation about whether or not this woman actually even exists. What do you guys think? Sound off in the comments below, and make sure to subscribe to Complex on YouTube to stay tuned in for exclusive election coverage this week from Jinx and Nadeska, brought to you from the Republican National Convention. For Complex News, I'm Tamara Dia.
Guys, how can you believe anything Trump says? I mean, you know, whether it's Trump or his wife. I mean, they're both liars. And why? Why is this? Why do you have to be this way? Just man up, fess up, admit you were wrong. You know, hey, stuff happens. We all know that. you know? And guys, you know, Melania was very cool at the microphone. I mean, she looked like a seasoned pro, all dolled up and everything, you know, and nothing went wrong. But watch what happens when Donald has a little problem with a microphone. So, Judy, let's have clip number 11, please.
$505 billion. We're going to lose that. $505 billion. And by the way, I don't like this mic. Whoever the hell bought this mic system, don't put the son of a bitch to put it in, I'll tell you. These people. No, this mic is terrible. The stupid mic keeps popping. Do you hear that, George? Don't pay him. Don't pay him. You know, I believe in paying. But when somebody does a bad job, like this stupid mic, you shouldn't pay the bastard. Terrible. Terrible. It's true. And you got to be tough with your people because they'll pay. They don't care. They'll pay. So we're not going to pay. I guarantee I'm not paying for this mic. Every 2 minutes I hear like boom, boom.
Guys, that isn't the only thing he doesn't want to pay for. I tell you, Trump has stiffed so many people. And the next clip, and I hope I got this right, Judy. I think we have clip number 12, and this is for Trump stealing pianos. And when you look at it, you say, what do you mean stealing pianos? And guys, we're going to play the clip, and you could see it for yourself. So Judy, number 12, please.
A $1 billion dream come true. Donald J. Trump's Taj Mahal, the 8th wonder of the world.
I was just a small business owner trying to make a living, selling my pianos, taking care of my customers. I feel as if somebody stole $30,000 from me. When somebody likes the Taj Mahal is going to order pianos, they check with the most respectable dealers. I expected the bill paid in 30 days. When the 31st day went by, I gave them a call, and it got sort of a runaround. And then I waited another 10 or 15 days, and I called again, and I still got no answer at all. I kept calling and telling them about the necessity for getting paid for these. I either got, we'll call you back, or we'll have to talk to somebody else, or, we'll do the best we can. Then about 2 months later, I got the letter in the mail. They didn't have enough money to pay everybody. The Taj Mahal didn't have the money to pay their bills. And the letter said, you're going to accept 70% on the dollar, or you can wait till the Taj Mahal makes enough money to pay the bill in full, which might take a long time. There was no question in my mind that it was a bullying deal. I had to accept the 70%. I can't sue them for $30,000 because it would cost more than that in legal fees. When you buy pianos from a manufacturer, they expect you to be paid for the pianos. I was short $30,000, and if you're short that amount of money, it's got to come out from what you spend on family expenses. Bills you should pay. I had 5 children at the time. There's a lot of stress. If you're running your own business, you have to be successful or you're in real trouble.
Trump Entertainment Resorts, which went bankrupt, lenders lost over $1 billion and more than 1,100 people were laid off.
First of all, these lenders aren't babies. These are total killers. These are not the nice, sweet little people that you think, okay?
People that got hurt in Atlantic City are honest, hardworking people, just like me. I'm certainly not a killer.
The lenders definitely lost money, but small-time investors through retirement funds also suffered. So did small business owners who sold the Trump Organization paint, equipment, food.
If you want to get a sense of what is Donald Trump like as a person, how does he run things, you can look at Atlantic City as a good set of examples and potentially cautionary tales.
They figured out a way to pay less for what they owed, and I don't think that's fair. Somebody cheats you out of $30,000 legally, that's still stealing. He's built his empire on other people's backs. He's made the deals to his own benefit and stuck people along the road.
I have used the chapter laws of this country to do a great job for my company, for myself.
I think if Donald Trump becomes president, it's going to be every man for himself. He has no plans for doing anything that's constructive for anybody except himself. We're going to suffer. That's what I said. The little man's going to suffer, and the whole country can suffer.
All right, guys, so Trump stiffed that guy out of about $34,000. Now, if you remember on the last show, we showed you where Trump only paid the architect that built this clubhouse 1/3. So he paid that guy 1/3 and he pays this guy 2/3, but he never pays the full bill. And this is how rich people get rich. And the guy said, you want more money, sue us. Who can afford to do this? And most of business is done, with a contract, but with a handshake. And everybody knows when you send out an invoice, the money's got to circulate. You don't pay me, I can't pay the other guy who can't pay and it all trickles down. And I tell you, what really gets me is there are people that fight back. And Judy, let's have still number 13 because this is somebody that took Trump to court. So if we can have number 13. Judge orders Trump to pay nearly $300,000 in attorney's fees for stiffing a painting contractor. And Judy, can we go to number 14? Guys, this is beautiful because the judge gave Trump the old bada bing. And, you could sit there and you can read it, but Judy, come back to me. Guys, this is what it's all about. If people get together and say, listen, Donald, from now on you pay the full tab. Guess what? All of a sudden he doesn't look so stellar. He doesn't look like an achiever. He looks like an underachiever. And I tell you, if there's one thing that's going to prove that he's an underachiever, are his taxes. You can't lie on your taxes. You can lie anywhere else, but you can't lie when it comes to taxes. And Judy, the next clip, we're going to have clip number 15. Elizabeth Warren is going to give him the old bada bing, and she takes no prisoners. So Judy, hit it.
I have to be honest. It is hard to talk about Donald Trump. Between his ignorance, his racism, his sexism, his lies, it is actually hard to know where to start. But we got to start somewhere. And today I want to focus on one lie that helps sum up what Donald Trump is all about. His taxes. We don't actually know what Donald Trump pays in taxes because he is the first presidential nominee in 40 years to refuse to disclose his tax return.
I believe there's a bombshell in his taxes.
There's a bombshell there.
Look, maybe he's just a lousy businessman who doesn't want you to find out that he's worth a whole lot less money than he claims. We just really can't know for sure. Here's what we do know. The last time Donald Trump's taxes were made public, it turned out that Donald Trump paid nothing in federal taxes. Zero taxes before. And for all we know, he's paying 0 taxes today. And he's proud of it. A few weeks ago, he said that he's more than happy to dodge taxes because he doesn't want to throw his money down the drain. Yeah, Trump likes being a billionaire. And he doesn't think that the rules that apply to everyone else should apply to him. But let's be clear. Donald Trump didn't get rich on his own. His businesses rely on roads and bridges that the rest of us paid for. His businesses rely on workers the rest of us paid to educate, and on the great police force and brave firefighters the rest of us paid to support. Donald Trump and his businesses are protected by a world-class military that defends us abroad, keeps us safe at home, and the rest of us pay to support. When anyone builds something terrific, they should get to keep a big hunk of it, but they should also pay a fair share forward. So the next kid and the next kid and the next kid who come along will get their chance to build something too. That's how we build a future that works for everyone. And that goes double for Donald Trump, because we know how he got rich. He inherited a fortune from his father and kept it going by scamming people, declaring bankruptcy, and skipping out on what he owed. Nurses, teachers, dock workers, they pay their fair share for the services that keep Trump's businesses going. Programmers and engineers and small business owners, they pay their fair share to support courageous first responders. Donald Trump thinks that supporting them is throwing money down the drain. I say we just throw Donald Trump down the drain. Donald Trump is a fraud and a cheapskate, and he's a bully. And look, he's probably going to come up with a whole bunch of lame new nicknames for me just for filming this video. You know why he does that? He does it to intimidate, to threaten, to make us shut up. You and I know how to beat him. We don't back down. So here's what we need to do. Whatever Donald Trump says, whatever scam he tries to pull, whatever disgusting thing he thinks he can say because he's Donald Trump, speak out. Talk to the person behind you in the grocery store. Talk to the person pumping gas next to you. And yeah, share this video with your friends. Ask your Fox News loving Republican uncle, why do you pay your taxes, but Donald Trump doesn't? If Donald Trump doesn't even believe in paying his fair share for government, we shouldn't put him in charge of the government. If we're going to build a future that's not just for the rich and powerful, but a future that's for everybody, then it's time for all of us to fight back.
Guys, I tell you, she's the wrong woman to mess with. And Trump calls her Pocahontas because she claims to be a natural American, you know, with some Indian heritage. But, you know, my father always used to say this, he was rich, hell hath no fury like a scorned Warren. Well, he used the word woman. But man, I tell you, when you scorn her, and that's what Trump did, you're going to get what you deserve. And I tell you, she pulls no punches. Trump always thinks he's such a hot shot. I'm a counterpuncher. Hey, don't mess with women. You can't win. Believe me. And guys, the next clip, we were talking about the Republican convention. You know what? The one thing I never realized? How many Latinos there are in the Republican Party. Guys, he's the gift that keeps on giving, isn't he? I mean, it just doesn't stop. All right, now we're going to come to the part of the show where we do our Facebook favorites. These are all the thumbnails and the memes that have been put up from people on Facebook. These have all been put up within the last week. So what we'll do is we'll go through them, we'll read them together, and Judy, let's have some fun. Still number 31, please. Oh, this is from our buddy Bill Williams. Cleveland police asked for an emergency suspension of the open carry laws during the GOP convention. Wait, so guns don't make us safer? I'm confused. Thanks, Bill. Next, Judy. 85% of white people that are killed in America each year are murdered by other white people. Yet we never hear the term white on white crime. Black on black crime is a term that's been coined specifically for black people to create feelings of self-hatred and disingenuity within our race. And I can't read the bottom one. But next, isn't that true, guys? Plagiarism. This is what Melania Trump, the practice of taking someone else's work or ideas and passing them off as one's own, called copying, piracy, theft, stealing, cribbing. Next. And guess who she stole from? Thank you, Republicans, for finally admitting I'm pretty awesome. Because she wrote it all right. And this is from Larry Rundle. Melania did not steal her speech from Michelle Obama. If anything, Michelle Obama stole her speech from us. Just like the entire Obama family has been stealing from America. Eric Trump. Can you believe these guys? Next, Judy. And this is from my buddy Mike If America is the land of the free, then why do we have the largest prison population in the entire world? Guys, that's a fact. Next, Judy. This is from Vicky. Hey, Vicky, how you doing? Donald Trump's vice president pick proves he doesn't stand with working families. Mike Pence supports right to work, which we know isn't right to work, has led efforts to repeal prevailing wage, has urged Congress to pass TPP, opposes raising the minimum wage, another rich guy that doesn't want to see people get a minimum wage, and opposes expanding workers' rights. That's from the AFL-CIO. Next, Judy. Trump aborted this hilariously graphic campaign logo within 24 hours. Share if you think you should have been forced to carry it to term. You know, the Republicans with their abortion rights. Next, Judy. All right, Pope Francis calls out Donald Trump. A person who thinks only about building walls wherever they may be and not building bridges is not Christian. Next. This is from Perry Bruce. We have to put warning labels telling people that coffee is hot and not to put bags on their heads. So no, I'm not surprised that people support Trump. Next, Judy. This is from Roy. So Trump wants to round up a group of people and build a giant wall. Been there, done that. Next. If you're this paranoid, you don't need a weapon. You need professional help. Judy, come back to me. Guys, if I was in Walmart and I saw something like that, adios. Well, first of all, you never catch me in, well, I shouldn't say that. I've been in Walmart, I got thrown out. But anyway, it was during a protest. But no, I have shopped at Walmart. But if somebody's carrying a loaded weapon, you gotta be kidding me. I mean, how scared do you have to be? And isn't that what Tony Schwartz talked about? And we're gonna show you a clip now from the president. And guys, the president can't understand why people are so scared. So we're gonna play this clip, but at the same time we're playing the clip, Judy is gonna run some charts over what the president is saying. So visually, you'll understand that he's not giving us the double reverse, and the charts will explain everything. Judy, clip number 50, please.
I did not watch the convention. I don't think that's a surprise. I got a lot of stuff to do. And they are pretty long events. But I did read some of what was said. And the one thing that I think is important to recognize is this idea that America is somehow on the verge of collapse, this vision of violence and chaos everywhere, doesn't really jibe with the experience of most people. I mean, I hope people the next morning walked outside and the birds were chirping and the sun was out, and this afternoon people will be watching their kids play in sports teams and go to the swimming pool, and folks are going to work and getting ready for the weekend. And in particular, I think it is important just to be absolutely clear here that some of the fears that were expressed throughout the week just don't jibe with the facts. So let's take two specific examples. When it comes to crime, the violent crime rate in America
has been lower during my presidency than any time in the last 3-4 decades. And although it is true that we've seen
beautiful
an uptick in murders and violent crime in some cities this year.
Guys, the chart says a million words, doesn't it?
The murder rate today, the violence rate today, is far lower than it was when Ronald Reagan was president, and lower than when I took office. We've just gone through a tragic period where
my mic open?
We saw both tragedy in Minnesota and Baton Rouge, and then the insanity and the viciousness of people targeting police officers. And we are all heartbroken by that, and we're all troubled by how we can
compiled by
rebuild
the
trust,
FBI.
support law enforcement, and make sure the communities feel that they are being fairly policed. But the fact is that the rate of intentional killings of police officers is also significantly lower than it was when Ronald Reagan was president.
Look at that chart, guys.
Those are facts. That's the data.
That's the data.
When it comes to immigration,
the facts don't lie. Data always tells the truth. Politicians
I think Americans
don't, but
expect
Obama
that
does.
Our immigration process is orderly and it is legal.
There's your proof. Nice job, Judy.
And
nice job.
We have put unprecedented resources at our border. Well, it turns out that the rate of illegal migration into the United States today is lower by 2/3 than it was when Ronald Reagan was president. We have far fewer undocumented workers crossing the border today than we did in the 80s or the 90s or when George Bush was president. That's a fact. So the one thing that I think is important is, obviously there are going to be different visions about where we should go as a country, how we can provide jobs, how we can make sure that our kids are able to get the education they need to succeed in the 21st century. You know, how do we deal with our budget? How do we make sure our tax system is fair? How do we deal with very real issues around growing inequality or wages that have not gone up as fast as we want, and the real pressures that a lot of families feel. But we're not going to make good decisions based on fears that don't have a basis in fact.
Well, you got to come back to me, Judy. Guys, it's all about facts. Charts. Charts. Guys, charts don't lie, as long as you're getting them from the right source. What was that, Kurt? 35 seconds, guys. I don't know. I had an awful lot of fun. I want to compliment Judy on what she did with those charts at the end, because, guys, you don't realize how difficult it was for us to do that. But I tell you, now that we've done it the first time, we'll be doing it all the time. Are you going to run our Are you going to run our graphics for us so everyone can see where to get the best pizza in Danbury? Judy, how much time do we got? Say goodnight, Rich. Guys, it's been a real pleasure. Don't forget, the Democratic convention is all this week, and our buddy, oh brother, man, I tell you, my brain's going. But anyway, we got some representatives from Danbury down at the DNC. And there's our buddy Marco. Marco, thanks for the pizza, buddy. All right, guys, we'll see everybody next week. Toodles.